Hey, Greg.
Hey,
Um, so I have a couple of questions about some of the protocols. And
sure.
actually, the one is from when you sent out the newsletter this past week in the clinical corner, it's about the establishing order. It's just a basic question. The first protocol is with the aloes, and it's from the class that we did this past weekend,
hmm
the
hmm
Law of Cycles. The second one, it doesn't have an oil, and I think it's
Oh,
a
boy, my
typo.
mistake. My apologies. Let me look at that.
Yeah, that's okay. I think it's a transmutation pattern, and
Oh no, that's still aloes. Yeah, that's
so it
still aloes.
says,
Yeah.
okay,
I think that one has like a one and a two. It's like
yes,
the one is the first part, and then you're still using the same oil, and it's the second, it's the yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah.
I just wanted to be clear because I would have guessed
Yeah.
that I would have jumped to Tiger Lily, but
Letty
or
usually
Tiger Lily.
cleans that up for me, and that one didn't go through Letty, so
Oh,
usually she would put her little magic on it. So
no. Well, I was really happy to see this because I think this is a really amazing.
yeah, like I was even sitting and thinking of like, how do I even like go through and explain this? And I put the the points on there and everything, but it's like a deeper way of like stabilizing the Ming Men and like harnessing the potential power of the Ming Men. Like
Mhm.
it makes it work better, like if that makes sense. And when it's not working right, it's kind of like how when you're tired and you got to do something, you do it, but you don't do it well, because you're tired and you're fatigued. And it's like when you really work this establishing order component of it, it does so much for your brain. It does so much for refining the lower faculties and but more importantly, like when you're in situations of chaos, it's like you almost get like insight coming in of like how to stabilize it. That's not of the rational mind. Like you almost get, I don't want to say it's not really instinctive. It's like it's probably more in intuitional kind of drive, but it's almost like this knowing of like I need to do this to make stability, and you're
Mhm.
not as enticed to being in chaos. And on a deeper level, um in the three brain stuff we talk about the process of catastrophe is things have to line up pretty well, but really what you're saying is chaos in the instinctive realm, chaos in the emotional realm, and then chaos in the mental realm that then affects behavior and things like that. And so it's just another way to stabilize all these components so that you can have a quieter mind, a more productive mind, more cognitive mind, better meditations, better healing, be it physical or psychological. It's very harmonizing and balancing, you know. Uh
Mhm.
the thing that they would say in Kabbalistic teachings is it develops the inner sense, like in
Mhm.
your inner like sense, your inner knowing, you know.
Right. I went back and I looked at my notes about the class that we did on the Mingmen, the
Oh yeah,
transformation and the inner sense. And so yeah, some of that came through
yeah.
from that class. So my other question is simply about the class that we did with the body mapping.
hmm
And I really loved the segment with the planetary influences.
Oh yes.
So I'm gonna sort of focus on that for a bit. But
I
you
think that's an amazing thing to focus on.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's great. But you said something which caught my attention. It says we go through stages of development, starting with purification, then transmutation, and then you start to have the union of opposites. And at some point, you start to develop the higher emotional body,
Mhm.
like the astral body. Could you talk more about that? Could you?
Yeah, it's like so many of our emotions are like lower emotions, and even when they get kind of refined and move up to the heart, they are tied to more of like these emotional responses that don't have a lot of reflective components to it. You know, they basically are more self-oriented rather than outside of yourself. And outside of yourself at first is more like about others, but even as it gets more refined, it starts to be even beyond like other people. And it starts to be, you know, like, you know, God or the Buddha nature or your higher nature or even greater. And so, you know, at first we're just trying to move lower emotions up to higher emotions. But the idea of working the planetary energies is you're really going beyond yourself, you're going beyond your life, and you're cultivating this much higher level of emotional development that almost becomes like what the Buddhists would say, like no self, like you're going beyond the life or beyond the identification of the self. And that's where like what you would experience like happiness or joy or be embracing like the Christ consciousness or the Buddha nature, you would go start to more into that realm. And so you kind of go through these stages, and when you really start to experience that higher like astral component, um you know, it's almost like beyond what you would get in meditation, and it starts to be like, you know, when you're around a spiritual teacher or like a saint or something, you just feel this like peace, like you just, oh, I wish I could just bottle this and just it's because they're like in a different realm, like they're in front of you, but they're really, their energy body has gone beyond where we're at, and they're in like a higher realm at the same time. And that higher realm, you know, for even like a lesser saint is still that like higher astral realm. And down below our feet, it goes beyond the, you know, at first we're looking at the connection to the animal nature, and then we go to a deeper level where it's like, you know, people who meditate and are cultivating peace and, you know, nonviolence and loving kindness. But beyond that is like the realm of like the souls and the great souls or saints and yogis. You know, they kind of reside beyond that realm. You know, that animal realm is a lot like what we would call hell, but it's just the animal nature.
Mhm.
And one of the key ways to doing that is this idea of developing the emotional body. Because if you think about like the heart, the more the heart gets activated, the more the crown gets activated, the more that the blue pearl gets activated. And so, you know, sitting and meditating on the crown and on the blue pearl is good, but it only activates based on how much building blocks that it has from the emotional body. And so the more that you just keep pumping up the heart, the crown and the blue pearl just, they activate and they stay activated even when you're not meditating. And so in certain circles, they would refer to this as not being spiritual, but being spirited. Like the emotional body is mm, it's like this active component that is activating to the upper centers, to the upper faculties. And even if you think about like the idea of materialization, part of how you materialize something or bring something down from the ethers or just take action and make something happen, it really depends on the quality of the emotional body. And if the emotional body is really negative or depleted, your ability to get things, you know, physicalized is diminished. But if the emotional body is really super developed, the ability to attract energies from the environment to bring it into form is I don't want to say effortless, but it becomes almost like you send out the word and just there's a responding energy that comes. And so this is the teaching of, you know, with Astara, we talk about Katumi, but Katumi is Saint Francis of Assisi. And Saint Francis, you know, you see that he's always surrounded by animals. And it just means that it's when the heart gets big, the crown gets big. So the mixing of the heart and crown produces an ability that is tied to the communication with nature spirits, or you know, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, whatever it might be, but even the mineral kingdom. But you know, it's shown there with him being surrounded by animals. And it's almost like when you work the planets with the organs of blood purification, and you know, a little bit later you can like start doing with the alchemical planet, like with it going back and forth. So like you're working sun, you work the alchemical sun and the sun, you go back and forth. The alchemical sun is more of things in the unconscious. And so it's like it provides like greater building blocks. But for a while, just work the planets by themselves, but also include Earth. Like you know, like we did the 7 there, but like at some point you'll kind of reach a place where you're like going, I'm feeling pretty good. When I do it, I don't really feel anything bigger. It's like you kind of want to keep doing this bit of, it's not really a release, but it's release. It's a transmutation of sorts of the energies from the earth, you know, because like we're naturally drawn more to the earth than to the other planets. And so we're, our emotional body, our higher emotional body, I should say, is a reflection of the influences we would call astrology. And our lower emotions are that of earth. And the more you kind of keep activating those astrological components, at some point you have to keep going down to earth, going, okay, I need to work this deeper. I need to work it deeper. I need to work it deeper. And basically what you're saying is like, I need more light to build something even better. Like it's a way to access some kind of light of sorts. And so, you know, at some point, you know, we're going to do this in November, that your birth sign becomes a little bit more, not, you're not just working the planet associated with your birth sign, you're working some of the processes in your birth sign, because that is tied to also how you can transmute some of your karmas that we would, you know, basically how you kind of process your karmas. Your karmic imagery is tied to your birth sign. And, you know, if you come in as a Capricorn, or you come in as like, you know, a Gemini or a Libra or something like that, you're going to process the same information, but in a different way. And so it's not just about working it in the lungs like we were doing before, but there's these alchemical processes that you do in the spine, and you know, there's all these components. And so, you know, it becomes kind of almost like a practice into itself. Like, you know, I work all the planets myself, but you know, being Capricorn, I'm in Saturn, and I work them all, but when I work Saturn, way deeper, you know, way deeper. But it's important to work them all. But you know, the one needs a lot of work. You know, whenever I do this, I was like, I got to do this every day. Like, you know, because it does change, you know, you're basically, anytime you're working the higher components of the emotional body, you're activating the heart, and you're really developing what they call the imagination of the heart, or eventually it turns into the phosphorus of the heart, like the blinding light of the heart. And when the light gets so bright in the heart, it actually begins to illuminate the mind. Like, it's not just activating something, but it starts to lighten up the mind, and like kind of develop the mental body to a much higher degree. So it just starts this like chain reaction going up there. But the key is that upper emotional body. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
I
Well,
think I think that's a great practice to focus on. I think that's
yeah,
a super great practice to focus on.
yeah, it really
Yeah.
drew me. So when you say work the earth, are you saying working with the blend earth?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, so same and the organs of
yeah.
blood
Just yeah,
purification. Okay,
yeah.
okay,
Same pattern, same everything. I mean, I'd worked the other planets for a little while, but like when you feel
yeah,
like I feel like I'm kind of evening out, go back, work Earth, and then go back to the planets. Yeah,
got it.
yeah,
Okay.
like
And
a
then
back and forth.
this class yeah, thank you. The class that's coming up in November, with our birth sign, are we dealing with the Western tropical system, or are we dealing with the Vedic system?
So you can
Doesn't
you
matter.
can you can actually do either one. Like ideally, like I was in my mind, I was thinking we'll just do the Western, but we did some trial runs with people that do like more Eastern astrology, and it
Mhm.
worked just the same. You know,
Okay.
you're working different aspects, but um how did they say it? Like the difference between the East and the West, one's good for doing this and one's good.
Oh my gosh, at the time, sniffing oils, I can't remember. Um, yeah, so this was from a particular astrologer who really liked doing both charts, and she said Western is better for like personality things and descripting of that sort of thing, so more of like your actions. And then Jyotish was better for predicting and for the cycles and things like that.
Mhm.
So I mean, you're getting a little different flavor either way, but you're still getting flavor. You,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like Baskin and Robbins, 31 flavors, all made from milk. You know what I mean? Like so,
Okay.
like either direction you want to do. Like I think it's good, but it's gonna be each each sign is going to have like a whole series of things that are just unique to that sign.
Got it. Well,
Yeah.
okay. Well, looking forward to that. And are we going to do planetary classes at all in the future soon?
Yeah, I think we're looking at maybe doing something in January or February because um I was thinking about how to handle the planetary things because you know I don't know, it's such a complicated thing, and then the issue being that like sometimes when you present something, you're going through everybody's filters of like how they think about it rather than what the old traditions used to talk about. And so like how do I translate it to the here and now, because I actually had it all written up. I was going to do an emotional like healing class, but it was all just planetary energies. And I was like, I just think it's going to be a little too, it's like confusing. So I decided to do it over little bits over a period of time. And so doing the thing in the body mapping class was starting to take us down that road, and then like the class in November is really taking us down that road. And we've been circling a drain on it for a little bit, but there's all kinds of combinations that you can do with the planets and alchemical processes and things associated with the zodiac signs and the angels. Like it gets very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. I find it fascinating, but it's always about like how well can I communicate what the idea is out to everybody. And so sometimes I just keep trying to refine how I say things. And the three brain component is making things much easier, like making it much easier. But even that, like, here on the oil side, we're doing really well with it. But like on the side with Astara, like the ones that are getting it on that side are people that have been doing it with the oils. Like, I taught it in India, and I taught 9 modules. And at module 5, they started having difficulty because it was so different than how they thought about what I was teaching. Like they just had completely different viewpoints. And those viewpoints aren't necessarily wrong. It's just they're more external. And so when you go and start teaching the more mystical side of things, it's much more of an internal thing, and it's about developing something rather than a technique. They had a little bit of a hard time with it. And so we had to slow it way, 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 way down for them. I taught it all, but we are circling back and going, okay, let's just stick with module 5 for a while. We'll do 6 in a little bit, where, the things we're doing here, we are way past that. But they didn't have all the experiences with the oils, and I didn't prep them like we've prepped here. And so it's a little bit harder actually without the prep work. And so, we're just trying to handle it in different ways. But just it's not like you're doing the same thing but without oils. You have to do different approaches because you're not using oils. So, the practices are a little bit different, and you're using different techniques and things. And so
I'm sure we'll get there. So I'll just stay tuned.
yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, let me know how it goes with working those.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you.
And then you had mentioned a Purba over with Megan. Are you referring to the 3-inch Purbas Astara's recently offered? Are they up on the side?
3-inch. I think they're bigger.
Yeah.
I think they're more like 6 inches. There's some little small ones, but the one I'm talking about are
I'll look and see what we have on the site.
yeah, I don't know if they've made it on the site yet.
Okay.
Like I don't think she's posted them all yet.
Okay.
But yeah, we can shoot you a picture if you're interested. Yeah. They're very sassy. Like the copper and silver together, man, you can really feel energy flowing through.
And then go ahead,